Welcome to today's Explainer. So, have you ever known someone, or honestly, maybe you actually are this someone, who constantly talks about wanting deep, meaningful connections, but then the second they get the chance, they just push people away? Like they leave texts on read for days, they vanish into their room right when you think you're getting close, or they literally cancel plans at the absolute last minute. It's such a profound behavioral mystery. Today, we're unpacking the psychology behind this exact contradiction. We're going to explore why the human mind can so desperately crave people in its life, yet treat them like an incoming threat. Okay, let's dive into this. We've all seen the memes, right? The joke about being absolutely thrilled, like immediately putting on sweatpants thrilled, when someone else cancels plans so you don't have to leave the house. But for a lot of folks, this isn't just some quirky, introverted joke. It's a deeply ingrained behavioral pattern. You genuinely want understanding. You truly want friends or a partner. But when the opportunity actually pops up to hang out, this overwhelming urge to isolate just completely takes over. Psychology tells us this contradiction is incredibly common. But why does it happen? Well, our very first psychological clue lies in this massive battle happening between your conscious and subconscious mind. Consciously, you know you want emotional closeness. You are acutely aware of your own loneliness. But subconsciously, there is this massive reaction happening where you are actively pushing others away. The mind is entirely capable of craving emotional closeness, while at the exact same time being absolutely terrified of the emotional risks that come with it. It's literally like slamming on the gas pedal and the emergency brake all at once. The engine's revving, you want to move forward, but you are completely locked in place.
Which brings us to our first main piece of the puzzle, the energy toll, and why people equal fatigue.
You see, for a lot of people, socializing is how they recharge. They go to a party, chat with friends, and leave feeling super energized. But for individuals caught in this loneliness paradox, social interaction doesn't feel energizing in the slightest. It feels incredibly mentally draining. Every single interaction is this massive expenditure of mental energy. They're constantly monitoring reactions, agonizing over saying the wrong thing, or literally spending 10 minutes drafting the perfect non-committal text reply. Their brain fundamentally associates being around people with high levels of stress.
And it triggers this very specific, exhausting cycle. Step 1. Socialize. They actually go out, get over that initial hurdle, and do the thing. But step 2 is where the drain really kicks in. They don't just go home and sleep. They replay those conversations for hours. The brain just spins. Wait, what did they mean by that comment? Did I sound super awkward when I laughed? Do they secretly hate me? This intense, nonstop mental analysis makes the whole ordeal profoundly exhausting, which inevitably leads to step 3, a total withdrawal to recharge in silence.
And because the brain has tied socialization to all that stress and mental heavy lifting, even totally enjoyable interactions can leave them wanting isolation afterward. This is an absolutely crucial point. Someone could have just had the absolute best night of their lives with their favorite people, feeling totally engaged, and their immediate reaction the next morning? Airplane mode. Disappear for a bit. The fatigue from processing all that social data is just that intense. Moving on to our next clue, fear overpowers loneliness, or choosing the lesser of two evils. Let's look at the calculation the mind is doing here. On one side, we have the pain of loneliness. Yeah, sitting alone every Friday night hurts. It is undeniably painful. But you know what? It's familiar, it's predictable, and above all, it's safe. You know exactly what to expect. On the other side, we have the pain of rejection. For these individuals, rejection feels infinitely worse. Engaging with people means risking being ignored, misunderstood, or emotionally crushed. So in the mind's threat assessment, the heavy, dull ache of sitting alone is actually a much lighter burden than the sharp, devastating risk of getting hurt by someone else. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely reframes what we usually just brush off as being flaky. Avoidance is not about being cold or indifferent. It is a literal act of self-protection. They are withdrawing before a deeper connection can even happen to remain emotionally safer. Think about it. If they reject you first by pulling away, you can't reject them. The person stays lonely, sure, but to their nervous system, staying lonely is a massive victory because it means staying safe from unpredictable emotional harm. That brings us to Section 3, the need for depth, where it's all about quality over quantity. And this brilliantly illustrates how socializing is categorized into two completely different buckets in their minds. First, there's shallow socializing. Small talk, forced conversations about the weather, surface-level networking. To them, this feels entirely emotionally empty. It's an absolute waste of their limited social battery. It drains them without giving a single drop back.
But meaningful connection, that rare, deep, we talked until 3 a.m. about our childhoods and biggest fears kind of connection, that is exactly what they secretly and deeply crave. They don't hate people, they just cannot tolerate the empty surface-level stuff.
This distinction is exactly what creates such a wildly confusing pattern for anyone watching from the outside. Externally, they appear totally antisocial. They skip the parties, dodge the office small talk, and basically give the cold shoulder. But internally, they are wanting emotional closeness very, very badly. What looks like aloofness is actually this highly selective, desperate search for authentic depth. To use a quick analogy, it's like they're hoarding all their pennies for $1 million connection. They just flat out refuse to spend their energy on anything less.
Let's unpack our final clue in Section 4, protective subconscious habits and when the past dictates the present.
When you look at the research, it becomes crystal clear that the brain learns from emotional pain. Like, it takes incredibly detailed notes. If someone has experienced specific emotional traumas, maybe a severe betrayal by a loved one, a sudden abandonment when they needed someone the most, profound public humiliation, or even just a slow drip of constant, grinding disappointment over the years, their nervous system physically rewires itself. It adapts. It learns to expect pain the second someone gets too close. Over time, human connection literally becomes registered as a biological danger.
So, we arrive right back at the split mind we talked about earlier, but now we have a much deeper understanding of why it's happening. The conscious mind decides, hey, I want friends, I want to put myself out there. I'm going to download that app or go to that local meetup. But the subconscious mind, it remembers the betrayal, the humiliation, the abandonment, and it just yanks the emergency brake. It fully expects pain. So at the very last possible second, it makes them hesitate, pull away, cancel those plans, and emotionally disappear back into their safe zone.
Which leads us to our final section, the paradigm shift and reframing avoidance.
So, the crucial point is that once you understand these deeper reasons, you really see human behavior very differently. You literally can't unsee it. This behavior isn't just flakiness. It's not someone being inherently selfish, lazy, or genuinely antisocial. It is a highly complex, deeply ingrained mechanism of self-protection, energy preservation, and threat avoidance. They aren't just ignoring a text message. They're navigating an emotional minefield every single time their phone buzzes or a plan is proposed.
I want to leave you with this final thought today. Think about the people in your orbit. Who in your life is pushing you away, constantly canceling plans, or seemingly disappearing without a trace? Armed with this new psychological lens, can you look at them and realize it might not be because they don't care about you, it might simply be because they are protecting themselves. It absolutely changes how we approach the lonely people in our lives, and, honestly, maybe even how we approach our own tendencies. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning what's beneath the surface.